Kelim Perikei, Mishnah Yud Aleph. The last Mishnah of this long Perik, and it's a long Mishnah. So just bear with me. A very important Yesodistic Mishnah. So the Mishnah, Tano shel even v'shel mateches tohor, v'tomei mishum kli matris. The first case, Tano shel even, we know Tano is a gzeres hakosov, it's a kli cheres, it's mekabel tumah, although it's mechubel karka because of the pasuk Tana v'chirayim yutots. However, if the Tano is made out of stone, then it has the normal din of a kli even, and a kli even is not mekabel tumah, simple din. However, if the even is made out of matris, made out of one of the 6 matras which are mekabel tumah, so it's really got a din of, as the Mishnah says, got a din of a kli matras, not of a kli cheres. Let's just recap the differences between matras and kli cheres. If it's a kli cheres, then it's mekabel tumah by the sheretz being nitlo ba'aviroi, put into its toich without any nigia, and if the sheretz touches the outside of the kli cheres of the tanur, it's not mekabel tumah. With matras, it is only able to be mekabel tumah b'nigia. The sheretz has to touch it, whether it touches it on the inside or on the outside. A kli matras becomes tomei. Another important difference is the fact once they are tomei, how are they then metamei oichel umashkin? If it's a kli cheres, it's metamei oichel umashkin, which touch it on the outside. It's also metamei oichel umashkin, which are held anywhere in its toich, even without nigia. However, kli matras is only able to be metama ochel and mashkin, which touch it again either on the inside or the outside. Chelik number 2 is that a kli cheres can never be higher than a rishon tumah. A kli cheres cannot be an avatumah, whereas a kli matras can become an avatumah, and of course in the case of mace can even become an aviyah voice under the rules of chalal cherev. And the fourth important difference is that a kli cheres cannot be put into a mikveh to be matayirid, whereas a kli matras, of course, can go into a mikveh. And the Mishnah is telling you that a tanur which is made out of matras has not got a din of kli cheres, it's got a din of matras. Of course, another important difference is that a kli cheres, if it's a din tanur shel cheret, then it's mekabel tumah, even though it's mechubel karka under the rules, under the gzeres hakosov of tanur v'kirayim yutots. However, if it's a tanur shel matras, then it doesn't have that special rule of mechubel karka. Then it follows the normal rule of kelim that it has to be not mechubel karka to be mekabel tumah, and if it is mechubel karka, it's not able to be mekabel tumah. So the rule would be that if tanush lematras, as long as you haven't been mechaber lekarka, it's mekabel tumah. Once you're mechaber lekarka, it's not able to be mekabel tumah. On this point, I would recommend you to look up a tshuva noda b'Yehuda in Yeridea, Madura Tinyana, Yeridea Siman Kuftes, goes through the rules of Chibur Lekarka with Kelim like this. So we've got this Tano, which is a Tano Shel Matras. The Mishnah is carrying on. Nikev, Nifgam, Nistak. The Tano Shel Matras gets a hole in it, or it's chipped, or it cracks, and you repair it. Osaloi Tefelo, you repair it, but you repair it not with matras, you repair it with tit in such a way that it now becomes the original matras, plus part of it is now tit which you heat up and turns into cheres. Oy moisav shel tit, it's not broken at all. So the osalot feila is a way of repairing the nikev and the nifgam and the nistak. Or it's not broken at all. You just have your normal tano shel matras and you make it higher by adding on a layer of tit at the top to make it higher, and the purpose of this moisef is to be able to bake more, as opposed to the moisef we had in the end of Mishnah Hay, which is different. So this moisef is now an additional bit to the tanur. In other words, you've got tanur shel matras and a tanur shel cheres at the top. So the Mishnah says, Tome, you now have a very interesting hybrid. You have a keli, which is actually a mixture of matras and cheres, and therefore it's metame, has the chumras of both. It's metame mishum kli cheres me'aviroi, and it's also metame mishum kli matras, because that's what it is. And the Mishnah carries on, Kama yehei benekev, how big does this hole have to be able to change the matras into a kli cheres matras, a kli cheres as well, when you repair it with the tit, the hole was big enough to have let the fire go out of it. Now this nekev, for the ur to come out of it, wasn't actually a nekev big enough to be metayer kli cheres. One isn't metayer a tanur shel cheres or a tanur at all by making a hole in it. Haraya, the Mishnah said before that even if you have a tanur and you take away up to 50% of it and you're left with a majority, 51% of the circle, that's enough. Kolshken, if you just make a hole in it, you're not going to be able to be metayer it. So when you had your tanur shel matchas and you have a hole in it, the tanur is not toher yet. However, this shear of shiyetze boiha ur isn't there to be metayer the tanur. It's a shear how big the hole has to be. That were you to repair this hole with tit, the hole is choshev enough so that when you repair it with tit, the new oven becomes a tanur shel mateches and plus a tanur shel cheres as well together, because that hole, that bit of cheres covering the hole, is choshev enough. That's what the shear is in the whole of this Mishnah. So what's happening with this tanur is, you have a mixture, you have a tanur which is a mixture of matches and kli cheres. Now what happens if the tanur becomes tomei through a sheret being hung in its toich? So it's becoming tomei metoras kli cheres. But it also is a matches. Does it now become a matches dikatuma? For instance, if you were to hang a mace in there, would the tanur become an ava tumah because of the matches? It picked up tumah through the aver and toras kli cheres. But do you also say it now becomes an ava tumah like a toras matches? Or vice versa? If, for instance, it becomes tomei through matches because sherets touched it on the outside, is it able now to be metame oichlun and mashkin, which hang into its airspace metoras kli cheres? This is the Chazon Ish has a piece about this in Zayin Lamed Aleph. So let's repeat. The Osaloi Tfeila covers the Nikev, the Nifkav, the Nistak. Moisav Shel Tit is talking about a Moisav Shel Tit on a Kli, on a Tanur Shel Matches Sholem. But because you have a mixture of Matches and Cheres, the Tanur, when it's the Mishnah says Tomei, the Tanur means it actually has both properties of Kli Cheres and of Kli Matches. Carries on the Mishnah, V'chein Bechira, the same rule applies to a stove. A stove, you don't bake in the stove. A stove is a round Kli Cheres on which you can place two pots. Again, Kira shel even v'shel mateches tohira. A kira is made out of cheres and it's mekabel tumah matoras hakosuv, gzeres hakosuv, even though it's mechubal lekarka. However, if it's made out of stone, avad it's tohir. It's got to be cheres. If it's matches, it's tohira mishum kli din of kli cheres, but me mishum kli matches is the same as the ratio with the tanur. Of course, only if it's not mechubal lekarka. And the same rules applies here. Nikva nifgamon nistika. The kira has a hole in it, or it's chipped, or it's broken. Anochanama. It's not necessarily metaher the kira, but the hole is big enough that if you were to repair the hole in the metal with tit, it would now also take on the properties of being a kli cheres. And how do you repair this hole? Says the Mishnah, osalo pit putin tmeo. With a tanur which has a hole in it, you just plaster a bit of tit around the outside, around the hole, and that makes it into a tanur. With a kira, it's done differently. When you have a hole at the bottom of a kira, what you do is, where the hole is, you stick on a piece of cheres, a piece of tit, and you use that piece of cheres as a leg. That's called a pit put. You normally have 3 legs, as the Baal Tunur says, becomes like a tripod. And where you have a hole, you say, you know what, I'm not going to repair it, just repair the hole, and actually turn it into a leg. So now again you have your kira made out of matches, and together made out of cheres as well. So it's tamea, materes matches, and materes kli cheres, the same way as the ratio of with the tanur. And here, of course, it doesn't say moisav shel tit, because one doesn't put a moisav shel tit on a kira, one only puts a moisav shel tit on a tanur, because you want to actually have a bigger height in the tanur to be able to bake more. And the last thing in the Mishnah is Barocha Batit. We are now talking about, there's different ways of learning this. This is the way the Rosh and the Rosh learn. We are talking about a tanur or a kira. The Mishnah is talking about a kira, but the same thing applies to a tanur. if you have a tanur shalem or a kira shalema, and you put in a miruach of tit round the outside, the Reisha said you put a miruach of tit, you put tit to repair a hole or to make it higher. But now you just actually add a layer of tit round the outside or even round the inside of the kira shel mateches. Tanakama holds you've done nothing. You cannot add properties of a kli cheres to an existing kira of matches by just adding on a layer of tit, even though the tit can stand by itself. If you're adding tit to a hole, then you can add the properties of a kli cheres onto kli matches that way. Or if you add a moiser shel tit in the case of a tanur. However, if you just stick on a layer of tit onto a sholem, a tanur sholem, or a kira shlema, whether you do the layer of tit on the inside or the outside, is the ma'ale v'lo moire to the din of tanur shel mateches. It stays a tanur shel mateches, and that's it. You don't add any properties of kli cheres because of your miruach tit. That's what the Tanakama holds. Rav Yehuda says no. Mi b'fnim tamea. If you add on the layer of tit onto the inside of the tanur shel mateches, then you have really, in effect, two ovens. You have a mateches around the outside, and inside you have a new kira shel tit, and hai l'chudei koi v'hai l'chudei koi, and you have two separate kelim stuck to each other. He agrees. If you add a miruach of tit to the outside of a kira shel mateches, that does nothing. That's on the outside. But for miruach of tit on the inside of a kira, actually ends up with you having a kira shel mateches with a kira shel tit stuck to the inside, and it's tomei mishum kli matches and mishum kli cheres. That's the end of the perek.